So we're back at it today. I got my transmission control module reprogrammed from the 8speed shop. Here's my valve body sitting right here out of the transmission. So the reason why this is all tore down, it's pretty simple. So I did like a Frankenstein swap in this Jeep. It's a 2014 Jeep Wrangler. And I wasn't happy with the 5-speed automatic transmission that was in it, the NAG one. So I bought a 845 RFE 8-speed automatic out of a V6 Ram, out of a 2020 Ram. And I put it in, and it does great. Feels like it brought a lot of low-end power, a lot of low-end torque back to life in this thing. But there was one issue with 42-inch tires, 538 gears, and dry shaft speed was one of the problems. So the current, well, not current, but the module was programmed for a Dodge Ram. So the dry shaft speed would get spinning so fast with the low gears that it wouldn't shift into 8th gear in the highway, which wasn't a big deal. I thought it still drove pretty nice. But the real big issue I was having is when you're out rock crawling, I have a pretty heavy foot anyway, but getting vertical, I was getting too much wheel speed. The transmission was upshifting into 4th and 5th gear. And you could hear it just whining and struggling. So took it all apart. Liz and Todd over at the 8speed shop they're amazing people. They run an amazing business over there. They're out of California. And so they reprogrammed it for me, and they unlocked a manual shifting option. So now with my 8-speed Dodge Challenger shifter that's in the Jeep now, I have the ability to shift it manually. So, and that'll help me keep it, in 1st or 2nd gear, or whatever gear I need to get her back together. So, I'm just gonna run through this briefly, show a quick assembly, and then I'll probably pause the video, take a little break, and then I'll start another video to show just the install back into the transmission. So you gotta be careful. I mean, it's kind of, I usually don't do too well with plastic. I have a tendency to break stuff every now and then. This seems to be pretty straightforward. It's my first time ever cracking open an 8-speed automatic. And it's not terribly bad. It's got these little guide pins. So, I mean, it can only go in one way. But I'm kind of happy to get some practice at it because I have a 5 Series BMW that's having some transmission problems. And with me being me, I don't ever go to the dealerships and pay the ridiculous fees that they want. So I just do it myself. As long as I learn a little bit, I'm good with it. Alrighty, let's try and figure out what bolts go where. So the torque specs for these are extremely low. I believe it's, let's say 5.2 foot-pounds. So it's at 63 inch-pounds of torque, I want to say. So my torque wrench doesn't go that low. My torque wrench, the smallest one I have, only goes down to, let's say it's 10 foot-pounds. But good thing I've got a calibrated elbow. We're gonna make it work. I'm not gonna over-tighten anything. Pretty chilly today. Normally it's pretty warm out here in southern Arizona, or northern Mexico, as a bunch of my other friends say, in Phoenix. Let's see, I'll get to that. So there's about 1 million holes on top of this valve body, like 21 or 23, somewhere around there. It's quite a bit. But the bolts can only go in one way. So we'll get her figured out. About that one. Now, should have took some pictures so I didn't forget. I'm pretty sure this just goes in like that. Maybe, oh, yeah, I was totally wrong on that one. Loosen these up. This goes in just like this. There we go. Then we got a little plug over here on the side, and like so. Tuck this wiring in. So I've had a couple people ask me what I'm doing for as far as these videos go. I'm not using some fancy GoPro. I don't have some fancy camera. I'm actually just doing it from my iPhone. Not really editing the videos. That's not my thing. I just like to wrench and learn new stuff in the garage. Hopefully some of these videos will help somebody eventually. That'd be cool. If not, hopefully you guys just enjoy watching. So I'm hoping after I get this Jeep back together, I can get it out of my garage, and then I can go back to work on my 46 GMC that's parked right next to me. I just got it on rollers so I can slide it up against the wall and get as much room out of the garage as I possibly can. But in a couple weeks, I got a good friend of mine, my buddy Brad. He was a aircraft structural guy in the Air Force with me back. Whew, we're stationed together. I feel old saying this, but about 20 years ago. He lives up in Fairbanks, Alaska now. And he's coming out to Arizona to defrost a little bit. It's getting cold up there. So he's gonna spend about a week out here, and we're gonna chop the top of my truck on the GMC. And yeah, we're just gonna wing it and see how it goes. Neither one of us have done it before. I've watched a bunch of videos. I'm comfortable with the angle grinder and the cutoff wheel and the welder and all that stuff that goes along with it. In worst case, we mess it up. I found another roof up in Casa Grande off I think it's a 45 Chevy, which is the exact same. So we're not gonna over tighten these for the time being. I'm just gonna lightly snug them, and then butterfingers over here, oil and rubber gloves. Makes it hard to hold on to anything. But I'm gonna run out to the store and I'm gonna pick up a torque wrench so I can properly torque these to the required setting. It'll drive me crazy if I don't have these torqued just right. Alrighty. I believe 3 of those. So you can see, here's the valve body with the black plastic piece. Like I said before, is the TCM. That's a transmission control module. And this transmission I bought it brand new for my Jeep. So it only, I don't have to do the O-rings and the solenoids, and there's your solenoids over here, and all that work on it. Only because this thing has, I don't know, maybe 6,000 miles on it, I want to say, since I've installed it. So I will be doing the filter and the all the fluid in it, which, just to fair warn anybody, it's the transmission, the green fluid for these 8 speeds. It is expensive. So if anybody has a line on some on the fluid for a cheaper price, I would appreciate it. It's, I want to say from the dealership, it was $30-something, $32 maybe, give or take a little bit. So it's not cheap. Well, that's done. So now I'm gonna get this sucker installed, and I will get the another video going so people can see. Just on my way home, I had to run out to the Ram dealership, pick up a bolt for the valve body. I think one of them fell in my oil drip pan when I drained the transmission fluid, and then made its way into the waste oil bucket, which has been disposed of. So it was a quick drive, about 40 minutes one way. for a $3 bolt. But I also had to get some of the Mopar 8-speed transmission fluid as well, so I had to go out there anyway, so why not? Yeah, I'll have the Jeep 100% back together today, driving down the road. I've been, my daughter has been getting frustrated at me because she loves it when I drive her to school in the Jeep and not the Beamer. So yeah, hopefully get some wheeling in now that this transmission will be back together with a manual shift option. So I'm really curious to see what kind of situations I can get myself into that are fun, and I'm anxious just to see how it does. I guess snowbird season out here, so people drive pretty slow. Got stuff to do, places to be. No time to be doing 10 miles an hour under the speed limit. But anyway, I'll start another video once I get back in the garage and show some more progress. So we're back, just putting in the new bolt into the valve body, and I'm just gonna hand tight, snug all the hardware up, and then we're gonna break out the torque wrench and torque them to, I believe it's like 10 foot-pounds, which is about 120 inch-pounds. It's not a whole lot. I guess you don't really want to over-torque these. It can lead to issues with fluid. So we got the transmission pan on. It's a plastic pan held on by about a bazillion of these Torx bolts. I'll give them credit though. The factory transmission seal on these is pretty killer. It's a real high quality rubber seal. Unlike a lot of older stuff, you know. Traditional transmission gaskets are usually garbage and they can never be reused. They always leak. But this one, I'll take my chances. I'll reuse it for now. This thing only has about 6,000 miles on it, maybe less. I do have a metal transmission pan with a new filter. I was gonna put it in. This one has a drain plug on it. And, you know, like I said, it's 6,000 miles or so. That filter's still fine. It's good. There's no dirt and junk in it. The new metal pan doesn't have a drain on it, so I am going to have to weld on a drain. So I just didn't honestly feel like doing all that today. I just want to get her back together, get her down the road, and hopefully the next couple days, get in some rocks and do some crawling. My daughter wants her Jeep back together. So I think it's pretty cute and kind of funny. She's a Jeep fanatic. She loves me taking her to school in this thing. It's probably one of the bigger Jeeps in my neighborhood. We both really enjoy it. So, time to get to wrenching. And yeah, you'll notice too, my videos, I don't like air compressors. Nothing against them. I just hate how noisy they are. I do have some of the Milwaukee battery tools, but to be honest, I still prefer to do everything by hand.